What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing the Chicago Bulls and Houston Rockets game reaction. Once again, the Bulls seem to find their way into an overtime game, and once again, the Bulls seem to find their way out of the overtime game with a victory. Solid stuff for the Chicago Bulls all the way around, and we're going to be discussing a little bit more about it in this video. There's a lot I need to say. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, their overall game today, and your player of the game. We won the game 124 to 119, and I can admit, and I must admit, we were the better team the whole game, but those final minutes in the fourth quarter were absolutely miserable to watch, and it allowed Houston to climb back into the game and end up sending it to overtime. They also had a chance to win their game, but thankfully Fred VanVleet did not make the three. I think it was actually not even him. I think it was Smith Jr. Whatever the case may be. We go to overtime, and the Bulls do the job in overtime. There was moments in overtime when we looked like we were going to be out of it. It looked like we were going to lose the game. And then in the final minutes of overtime, Zach LaVine took over the game. Coby White hit a clutch three, and everything went swimmingly as we win the game. This win against Houston is massively important for a variety of reasons. One, our next two games are against the Warriors and against the San Antonio Spurs in a back-to-back situation. The Bulls play well at home and will be versing Golden State at home. Now, Golden State is a team that can shock you with an amazing amount of points, but also can concede an amazing amount of points. They don't have much defensive structure to their team at the moment, so that's a winnable game for the Chicago Bulls. You got San Antonio. We've already beaten the Spurs twice. Let's hope we can make that 3 times running and win the season series against them. That would be lovely. But those two games are considered much more winnable than this Houston Rockets game. And this game against Houston, granted with no Dillon Brooks, no Tyree Eason, and I believe no Victor Oladipo. I understand they're not necessarily the most strongest Houston Rockets team you would face out there, but we don't face Houston that often. They have a better record than the Chicago Bulls, and out of all the 3 games that we have coming up, this was deemed as the hardest game to win. And we got the job done in the end. At home, we should be massively happy with that. The Bulls extend their winning streak to 3. And again, let's hope we can keep it going and keep it moving. But, speaking to what I wanted to say today, there are too many people, in my opinion, letting their bias for one player affect them actually watching this game. And I'm going to give you an example here. Again, if you guys were watching the watch along, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about here. But DeMar DeRozan isolated for a lot of that end of the fourth quarter. About 3 minutes in that fourth quarter, and the Bulls went on a scoring drought. And again, I truly believe DeMar DeRozan was the reason, and Billy Donovan were the reasons that this game went into overtime in the fourth quarter. But in some way, form, or fashion, people are blaming Zach LaVine for that. Zach LaVine had a fantastic game today. And I get it. People don't necessarily like Zach LaVine because he wants to leave Chicago. I understand it. People might not like Zach LaVine because of the performances he's had at the beginning of the season. He was dreadful at the beginning of the season. I understand that. I understand, and I fully agree that Zach LaVine should be traded out of Chicago. He's publicly stated, or his agents publicly stated, he doesn't want to be in Chicago. He wants to move on, and we should move him on. I agree with all of that. But the amount of people I saw at the end of that fourth quarter say Zach LaVine played trash today, Zach LaVine was poor, Zach LaVine is horrible. After the game that he had today, what games were you watching? We were watching a different game. We must have been. Because I can't see a world where you're looking at just this one game against the Houston Rockets and saying Zach LaVine is the reason why we lost and Zach had a bad game. Let's look at Zach LaVine's stats real quick. Zach LaVine had 25 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. Yes, he had quite a few amount of turnovers. He had 4 turnovers. That is not good. We know that. That is the weakness I will give to you about Zach LaVine's game today. But people want to pick and choose everything that he did wrong. Zach LaVine didn't do well on the defensive end. He was our best defender today. He has one of the highest plus minuses in the starting lineup. He had a plus 15. Vucevic and Coby White had similar. You saying that he didn't shoot well today? He shot over 50% from the field today. He was a big reason why we won this game in overtime. And I just don't know what more he could do to get someone to say he had a good game today. The amount of people that I saw that said Zach LaVine played badly today, the way that I see it, you're letting your biases get in the way of actually watching the game and seeing what's happening out there. That's the only way I can describe people saying Zach LaVine played badly today. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. I understand he's not a likable guy these days, but look at the game individually. And surely there are people out there that believe he had a good game. It can't just be me out there just thinking that. I thought it was, again, I just don't get it. If Zach LaVine had a bad game, fair enough, he deserves the criticism. DeMar DeRozan deserves the criticism today. He was very inefficient for most of the game. He had one good quarter, yet he's the one isolating the game for 3 minutes, and we go on a scoring drought. That's the person that you should be looking at. And you should be looking at Billy Donovan for allowing that to happen. I don't get how the ball did not land in Coby White's hands in the fourth quarter. I will never understand it. I will never truly accept the fact that Coby White, who was arguably the best player today, between him and Zach, I think it's very, very close. Arguably our best player today. Did great things. Had 5 threes up until the fourth quarter. He made his 6th three in overtime. Was playmaking in the pick and roll like crazy. Was scoring in the paint. Was getting to the foul line. Had his fadeaway mid-range on point. Literally an amazing game from Coby White. But in the final 4 minutes of that game, the only shot that Coby White had was a grenade type of shot where DeMar DeRozan couldn't get his isolation going, chucked it to Coby White at the half court, and Coby White had to chuck it up with 3 seconds left in the shot clock. That's the only shot that I saw from Coby White in the fourth quarter. In the final minutes of that fourth quarter, let's say. So again, that's Billy Donovan for not trusting Coby White to make the final plays when it matters the most. And that is on DeMar DeRozan for thinking that hero ball and isolation is going to take you across the line. If DeMar had a great game for 3 straight quarters, was scoring 20 plus points and amazing efficiency, I might be okay letting DeMar DeRozan have his ISO hero ball shots because for most of the game it's proven to be successful. When games like this, where it's clear that all the starting 5 need to be involved, all of our starting 5 in double figures, we need to see the ball move. We need to see players move. It's so clear that that's what we needed to see, and we didn't see that in the final seconds of that fourth quarter. I have to put some blame on him as well. It's as simple as that. And a lot of people gave blame on him, and that's exactly where it needs to go, in all honesty. No disrespect to DeMar DeRozan intended, but he was clearly at fault for this Bulls team going into overtime. And rightfully, people did criticize him. But I don't understand, outside of the turnovers, how Zach LaVine is getting any criticism today. He was our best defender. He got a double-double, 25 points, shot really well from the three-point line, helped us win in overtime, and playmaker. He got 7 assists. What? I just don't understand it. If this is a bad game, then no one on this Bulls team is having good games ever. It's as simple as that. If you consider Zach LaVine having a bad game today, this specific game, not the season, not the beginning of the season, because we know that was awful. We know that was piss poor. Even last game for Zach LaVine was piss poor in terms of, I guess, he was very, very quiet and passive in the game. But this specific game, if you can't admit that Zach LaVine had a good game today, then no one on this Bulls team will ever have a good game. Because that means they literally have to drop 30-point double-doubles to win games or to have considered good games. Zach had a good game. I get it, he's not likable, but it's time for people to start admitting these things every now and then. Doesn't mean I don't want him to get traded. I do want him to get traded. But we have to start admitting things when they're presented in our very eyes. Watch the games, and you can truly see what I'm talking about. Zach LaVine did everything right today, except for trying to force a triple-double and ended up getting turnovers. Simple as that. But okay, enough of my rants. I'll quickly go into the must improve and the player of the game. I think my must improve, in all honesty, is probably going to go to... That's hard. I think Patrick Williams. He had 3 steals, but 28 points in only 28 minutes, only 5 points. I'd give it to him. I'm actually going to give the player of the game... Actually, no. Let's take a deeper dive into the stats. Kobe had 30. I'm going to give it to Kobe. The sweet life of Zach and Kobe is back, ladies and gentlemen. Both of them are in contention for player of the game. Coby White dropped 30 points and 8 assists. I'm going to give it to him. He was outstanding. But what do you guys think about this Bulls game? Do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? Let me know. We can have that conversation again. But again, watch the game. Watch the game and you'll understand. Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow and or subscribe if you are new. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.